listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back on track. This is the final catch-up episode we've got to do of the pay-per-view or PLE extravaganza. And after this, we'll get back to our weekly reviews. But today on the slate, we got AEW All Out from this past weekend. Huge event. I won't say a good event, but we're going to break that all down and give you our thoughts. I caught it on replay because I was at the Alabama game, and that was enough stress and disgust for one night for me to bear. So I just finished it tonight. Should be an interesting episode. As always, on the other side of the call, he was texting me in the Alabama game, wanting me to go down there and say something to him because they were playing like crap. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah. Yeah, I really did want Saban to walk downstairs and snatch that headset from old Kalen DeBoer. I wanted him to call some plays, man, because until that fourth quarter, we were looking like Auburn out there, man. It was a tough watch too. Very stressful watch.
Yeah. I gotta rate the experience of the game 10, atmosphere 10, the game itself like a 3. Oh my God.
They are our rivals now. This is the second year in a row we played them to the wire.
Which you got to factor this in too. They do play in South Florida, so I'm sure they don't just have like bums on their team. You know what I mean? They probably get the people that Florida State and Miami can't get or don't want. But like, holy crap, dude, the offensive line, and we're missing 2 key offensive linemen, but
I don't want to play them anymore. I think we play them again in 2 years. We should just cut that game.
I think we play them next year in Tampa.
Is it next year? I thought it was the year after.
It may be. I thought it was like a 3-year thing where we played them.
But they need to drop it. Like add Mercer to the schedule, or
we play them this year.
We play Mercer. I just pulled it out.
We do. We play them right before Auburn.
Oh, okay. Well, bring them back next year or the year after when we play USF.
Yeah.
So, Michael, before we get started, let me ask you something. Are you a certified sicko?
Are
you certified sicko, Mike? Yes or no question?
I don't think I can pledge allegiance to that.
So you didn't enjoy this pay-per-view. You were fed shield, huh?
Well, guilty as charged, Your Honor. I don't know, man. It was rough. It was about as rough as the Bama game. And there was like 1 or 2 things that I liked. And I feel like this is going to be one of those pay-per-views where like people listen to this episode and they're like, well, you just hate everything AEW. That's not true. All in had some very high peaks and some very low lows.
Yeah.
I don't really think this had any high peaks. And I'm personally a fan of hardcore wrestling, but we'll get there. But go ahead.
I was going to say, there comes a time where hardcore wrestling just gets a little too over the top for my taste. And I do believe that if this pay-per-view didn't come right after All In and right after Bash and Berlin, I think it probably would be looked at more favorable for both of us. But yeah, that was definitely a detriment.
Oh yeah. I mean, it don't help that like I haven't wanted to watch any weekly TV because I'm already so gassed from these pay-per-views because that's already 4 hours every single week. And normally that's about what it takes me to watch the weekly stuff. So like, it's just been a slog, and no lie, it was hard for me to stay awake for most of this, but we'll get there. But I did see one thing at the Alabama game, Ryan, I wanted to tell you about, and then we'll get to the wrestling show. But I do have a take of the week for you. But I saw something at the Alabama game I had to share, Ryan.
You know what I saw the Alabama game? I saw Joe Tessitore, the new Raw commentator. He was the lead commentator for that game. Did you see that?
I did. People
Okay.
apparently did not like him online.
What? At the
Yeah.
Alabama game or on Raw?
Yeah, at the Alabama game. They
Oh.
apparently didn't like him.
I don't know. I thought it was okay.
So, I mean, I didn't hear him, but what I did see at the Alabama game, Ryan, this good-looking gentleman with a good-looking lady on his arm, and you wouldn't believe what he was wearing.
Wearing maybe a T-shirt of some kind, a graphic tee, Micah. He was wearing like a old school movie T-shirt, like a Ghostbusters T-shirt.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He was wearing a graphic tee.
Okay, all right.
And it was a Dead Threads graphic tee. And I'll tell you exactly where you can get your Dead Threads. Because people that wear Dead Threads, they got good-looking ladies on their arm. They go to football games. They go to all sporting events. And if you go to sporting events, you can't be stepping outside with no merch. So for all your favorite sports teams, make sure you get your merch. Dead Threads, the link below. You can get 15% off using the link in our bio in our link tree. Then when you go to checkout, get an additional 10% off of that. So bam, right there, you're almost getting 25% off. And you're getting a shirt. You're getting a comfortable shirt that fits well, fits in all the right places. Speaking for someone like me, I wear XL, so it's long enough. It doesn't, show my my belly a little bit when I raise my arms. It makes you look a little thinner, so that's always nice. And gentleman right there made the smart decision, got him some Dead Threads. So make sure you do the same thing. But first, Ryan, before we get all in, got that out of the way, make sure you use that link in our bio. I got a take of the week for you. It's kind of a take. I don't even know. Every week they got to post the pictures of AEW's not bleachers, the empty seats in the arena.
Yeah.
So this is from Heel Josh. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about because I've sent you clips of his on TikTok.
Yeah, I've seen him.
So the original post was from @AEW Neckbeard on Twitter, where it said big business in Lexington. And this has what seems to be Chris Jericho, Brian Keith, and Big Bill in the ring. And on the hard cam side, I see no one in the stands.
Well, come on.
No, I'm serious. There's people on the floor seats, but in this picture, there is no one in the stands except for the camera crew.
Well, they ran arena, Micah. You know how many people arena holds? Like 23,000. They can get 2,000 in now.
Well, I don't. It's not a smart show to me, or a smart arena, I guess, especially with how things have looked recently. And I'm not saying, AEW is going to go out of business. I'm just saying, well, their ticket sales have been down. May want to run smaller arenas. No big deal. But Ryan, Heel Josh retweeted this post. And he said, there's literally a killer on the loose in Lexington. People are even shocked that the show was ran. But of course, you kids don't do your research, and we'll just blame anything on what we want it to be. I have a viewer who didn't go because of it.
Wait, what? A killer? There's a serial killer in Lexington?
I guess.
So in Lexington, Kentucky, serial killer on loose, and in order to combat a serial killer, to stay in our homes, work, don't go to eat, don't go out on the town to go watch a show. That had something to do with AEW having 90% empty seats in Rupp Arena. Is that what you're telling me, Micah?
That is what Heel Josh tweeted, which I get it.
Do you?
But I get it if it affected the walk up, but typically, tickets are purchased months in advance. Why would that affect people from going?
Oh, they're always moving the goalposts for the empty seats in the arena. If you say something about that, they'll bring up, well, WWE had empty seats in 2019 and nobody said anything about that. Even though that's not true, everybody was constantly making fun of SmackDown being half empty and the pay-per-views looking like it was run in 1995 because there was nobody there. People were making fun of that in 2019. But now that AEW is not selling as many tickets and not having as high as viewership as they once did, and WWE selling out every week and having their highest viewership and having increase in viewership for the first time in a good 20 years, and they can't handle that, Micah. The basement can't handle that.
Well, you said it. Look, man, they put 50,000 in Wembley, and that's great. Like, I'm not trying to downplay that. But you can't deny that their ticket sales here are low, and fixing that would be a good thing. But I tell you what, they're not going to help, or what's not going to help fix that, and that's what started off All Out. First match on the card, we got MJF versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh, this match was nasty. It was spit everywhere, loogies, blood. MJF had the wedgie throughout. I was eating dinner watching this match, bro, and I had to put the food down.
Daniel Garcia, like, I don't know, man. He spits a lot or something.
Yeah, and he bled in MJF's mouth.
I think he like snotted in his face too. I think MJF like went to bite him, or maybe he went to bite MJF. It did gross me out. I wasn't gonna say anything, but
I was. This pay-per-view felt like a snuff film at times, man.
Did every match have color except for, I know, Osprey Pac
and Mercedes and Sheeta. Drink every time there's blood in a match. You would have passed out.
What's that clip of the dude coming down the stairs on the construction site and he just like stumbles? Oh shoot. So MJF versus Daniel Garcia. The hot start I thought was useful here. Makes sense for the feud, even though they did that a couple more times throughout. But it is a grudge match, so I get it. Plus, it was the first match of the night, so good way to start hot. I didn't like throughout the match that they tried to get the pile driver over as this big move, which I understand it took Daniel Garcia out for like a month, but
it didn't even. I mean, he kicked out of it. He kicked out of the pile driver.
Yeah,
and MJF just got dropped on his head 2 weeks ago.
That's my thought. Like, literally, we talked about it on the last show. Maybe not sometime last week. Mariah May gave Toni Storm a pile driver on the stairs. Or was that vice versa?
Mariah May got dropped on her head on the stairs, and that wasn't enough.
Yeah, and she was up 2 minutes later.
Oh, of course. And she won the match.
Yep, and she won the match. So, I get it, but does it not... If this was an isolated incident, that's great. But I honestly feel like we see more dastardly or just insane things happen in the average Will Ospreay match that people get right up from. So why would I believe this?
You fed shield. Those are this fighting spirit. They can take bazookas to the chest and just shake it off and pander to the crowd. That's their fighting spirit, you fed shield.
I don't even know
what to say. I'm serious, bro. I'm serious. That's what they say. Like, you can just take a German suplex and that's just a transition move. Get right up. That's fine. Hulk up. Yeah,
I get it. I get the fighting spirit spot. Well, you're not wrong.
Every match.
If it was, okay, I know something that bothered you on All In was Swerve kind of brushing off that Busaiku knee. You know why that was okay to me? Because it's two main eventers for the world title. This is Daniel Garcia, who has the same build as Jack Perry, and I don't like either of them.
He didn't do his little jive in the match. You don't do that anymore?
I guess
You
not.
think?
No, I'm sure we'll see it at some point.
Well, I haven't forgotten. And I don't know what TK's infatuation with Daniel Garcia is. Why do we keep on giving him this opportunity?
Oh, the people love him. The people like to say that Ricky Starks has gotten everything and has failed to get over. Has Daniel Garcia not gotten everything and has failed to have gotten over? He's
But
decently over with the crowd, but don't you remember he got a pin over Danielson?
yeah, he did. I think he made him pass out.
Yeah. He was like
Yeah.
the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. I'm pretty sure he beat Jericho.
No,
He had a
they
couple
never had a
matches.
match. They never had a match, which was weird because it felt like they were building to that for a year, and then they never
Yeah.
had a match.
Okay, well. So I mean you got that like that. I don't know, man. You want to talk about a guy who's gotten everything and hasn't done really anything with it, and I feel like Daniel Garcia fits that bill. Now, is the booking for him awful? Sure. The booking's awful for everybody.
But going back to that, Micah, you said Ricky Starks. You know who actually did get a pinfall victory over Chris Jericho? Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks, yeah. And the whole thing about Ricky Starks, the AEW fanboys online are saying, well, since he hasn't re-signed his contract, that's why they're not using him. Well, Daniel Garcia hasn't re-signed. And then they just let Daniel Garcia beat up their biggest heel in the company. Put him out with a top rope pile driver. So what's the excuse there?
Well, he's a good wrestler, Ryan. He's good in the ring.
He loves AEW.
Yeah, Ricky Starks is just a Rock cosplay.
What is Garcia again?
A Rikishi cosplay.
Okay, all right.
I mean, overall, it was an okay match. The problem is, to me, that I think this is probably one of Daniel Garcia's best matches, and it don't even scratch top 10 for MJF.
No. And
I don't
MJF
buy.
won.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say MJF won, and Garcia beat him up immediately after that.
Yeah. Wait, you mean Daniel Garcia won?
Yeah. No. Garcia didn't win. Garcia lost.
Wait, huh? Did I watch this match?
Garcia lost this match in a roll-up, and then he proceeded to beat MJF within an inch of his life after MJF held out his hand for a handshake, which made no sense, by the way. Why would he fall for that? Okay, well, he holds his hand out for a handshake, and MJF was going to hit him in the nuts, but Garcia catches MJF's foot and then proceeds to hit him in the nuts, and then picks him up, takes him to the top rope, Micah, and hits him with a top rope pile driver.
It's coming back now.
Yeah, that he hit him with a top rope pile driver, and supposedly MJF had the finish changed to beat Daniel Garcia, and MJF will take time off to go film a movie, which he just got back, but he's going to take time off again. So there you
Wait, so he changed the finish to where he wins and then he was going to leave?
You didn't see that?
No, I saw that he was leaving for the movie. I didn't see that he had the finish changed.
Yeah, I think I saw Ebu from Wrestle Purist tweet out that MJF had the finish changed and that he will be filming a movie for the next couple weeks. Which, bro, everybody was clowning it online, like MJ Hogan, and bro, he wrestles 20 times a year. Why does he need time off? He has to show up once a week. What is he taking time off for?
It beats me. He's their biggest attraction. I do think it's funny though that he that doesn't work for me, brother, and then he's gonna leave anyways.
As he should have. Ain't no way Daniel Garcia. He shouldn't even been in his match, honestly.
Yeah, I don't blame him because I mean Garcia's undersized. I don't think he's as good of a wrestler as people like to think that he is, and I don't think he's very charismatic either. He's maybe a little bit more charismatic than most they have, but that's not exactly a hill to die on.
And I'm surprised the fans haven't lost faith in him. Has he won any big match? He beat Garcia?
He beat Danielson. Like you said, he never turned on Jericho. He beat like Wheeler Yuta. I'm pretty sure Jon Moxley's beaten him like 3 times. Punk beat him.
Okay.
So do with that what you will. But speaking of doing what I wished, I skipped the Young Bucks match because
It was a surprise roll-up. Young Bucks beat the BCC, which is the second roll-up in a row, by the way.
I'm also not surprised. I don't want the BCC to win, but I'm not surprised that the Bucks are still champions. And who cares?
Show up.
I just knew what it was going to be. Like they're just at my point now, man. I do not care to watch them, and I'll just do myself and all the listeners a favor instead of going on this 10-minute dissertation about why I hate a Young Bucks match. I'll just skip it and say, well, I didn't watch it because I knew I was going to hate it, and I did. But moving forward, we got Will Ospreay versus Pac for the AEW International Championship.
Yeah, bro, this was fast-paced. I knew what I was getting myself into. The counters looked great. But again, it was a finisher kick-out fest. I mean, if you like that, then you love this match.
It was one of those that I, like, while watching it, I knew what it was going to be. And I knew all the people online were going to be like, oh my God, this was a banger. And I don't know, man. I just, something about it, and I'm not saying, because Swerve Hangman, oh my God, it was glacial for the first half. But, like, dude, it freaking takes like 2 moves for Will Ospreay to kip up and reverse something. Like, nothing is ever enough to kill him. And I get that he's over, and I know Kenny Omega wrestles that style, but Jesus Christ, dude. I watch a Kenny match all day of the week before I watch a Will Ospreay match.
You soured on old Will, huh?
He's good whenever, like, okay, when him and MJF had that first match, to me, it was more MJF than it was Will Ospreay. The second one was more Ospreay than it was MJF. And when he's not in there with somebody to make him adapt his style, then it just goes full-blown reversal, Poison Rana, kip up out of the Poison Rana, into a burning hammer springboard that I brush off because it's a fighting spirit spot. Like, dude, nothing happens. Like, they just reverse each other the entire match. It's like a video game with unlimited reversals.
I was, if they just done the reversals, it would have been fine. But the fact that they kicked out of every big move, which again, I know what I'm getting myself into. For what it was, they achieved what they set out to do, I guess. And, Ricochet and Will Ospreay, I'm sure they're building to that. And when they have that match, it'd be probably the most polarizing match since their last match. So,
yeah, you go. Yeah, be ready. Yeah, you be ready. Yeah, you go.
I want you at your best.
I want you at your best.
You better be at your best. Why do you want somebody at their best?
It's because it's about the sport of it. I think me and Tony Khan have 2 different interpretations of sports-based wrestling.
I don't think they do that anymore. Do they do that anymore? That went out the door the first night when they booked the Legless Man in the Battle Royal. And the first, what was that, All Out there? I think that was All Out.
Yeah. No, All In.
No. All In was that was
the Ring of Honor show.
Yeah. All Out was their first show with the Legless Man.
I don't know, man. It's like
sports-based wrestling.
Yeah. Anyways, I halfway through I was like, I'm not even gonna keep writing what I don't like about this, because it's like you said, like every week we would have to harp on the no selling, and it just kind of gets exhausting. So I knew what I was getting into. Tons of flipping.
Styles Clash, and then that garbage looking elbow for the win. Ospreay over Pac.
Yeah. I guess it just bothers me because I actually like him and I want to like him. I think he could be an excellent wrestler if he didn't just like nothing ever hurts him. He is what I imagine everybody like said about Gargano because I didn't watch that era.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. And you know they need to put subtitles when he's talking now because I don't know what's happened, but his accent is way thicker than what I remember. And when he starts yelling, it's even worse. Can you understand him?
Most of the time, there's sometimes it gets a little like honestly, the bruvs kind of like I don't know how to explain it. They're like a trigger word where then it's like everything else kind of makes sense what he says, but sometimes when he gets going real fast, yeah, I can't process it until he says bruv, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that may not make sense.
All right, okay, I'll give you that.
And also, lastly, then we'll move on. Will is basically a main eventer, and I don't like that he goes 25 minutes with Pac, who is a mid-card guy. And that's like one of my biggest gripes about AEW. Same thing with Garcia and MJF. Former world champion against a guy who's never even held a mid-card. He's held the mid-card title in Ring of Honor.
It's good. Bro, they pad their stats against guys on Collision. Like they'll have Pac beat the Kyle Fletchers and the guys from the Righteous on Collision. And then they'll say, oh, he's building so much momentum. Who's going to win at the pay-per-view? And then you know what's going to happen because these type of guys never win big matches. I think Pac beat Kenny Omega 6 years ago in a pay-per-view match, and he hasn't gotten a big win since.
Yep. I mean, he's been saddled with the Lucha Bros, but like you said, I knew everybody. I'm sorry. Everyone knew that Ospreay was going to walk out of this, and that's fine typically because that's Cody's entire run. But then again, if Cody wrestled freaking Grayson Waller, it's not going to be a 30-minute match.
No, heck no.
But moving on, one that I was actually kind of looking forward to, we got Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale.
More blood.
Yeah. I assume that you did not like this.
I'm just not a fan of the women's hardcore stuff, man. I know every time they have it online, goobers from the basement say it's the best thing ever. And, you know, the people on Cage Match voted this as match of the night. But, bro, I just don't like the women's hardcore match. I just can't get into it. And they hit each other with light tubes and thumbtacks, and they just get right back up. Like, how can I take when the guys do it seriously?
So what about them being women bothers you? I'm really not trying to set you up. Like, I genuinely just want to know. Well,
bro, when the blood happens in the women's matches, I just don't like to see it. I don't know, man. I'm old school like that. And the fact that the women can take all the table bumps and all the thumbtacks and the light tubes and the barbed wire and the steel chains, and they just get right back up.
Okay, well, the one spot I figure you want to talk about getting right back up, the table spot with Chris Statlander coming off the top.
That was more funny than anything, man. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. She bicycle kicked her in the back of the head. It's a wonder she don't have a concussion.
It's no wonder all these ladies are hurt, man. Like, how many girls they got on the shelf right now?
No, there's no telling. Or just wrestlers in general. But I know a lot of them, like Penelope Ford was hurt for a while. Ty Conti had her baby. Serena Deeb just came back after a long time. Britt just came back after a long time. Jake Hader just came back after a long time.
Sky Blue, they had Julia Hart. Yeah, man, there's a lot of ladies out because they want to do these stupid hardcore matches.
I thought Willow looked good early. She got a hot start. I think she's very talented, and all of her stuff to me looks more solid than most of the women on the roster. So I don't know. I really hoped that she was going to win this match just because she was so hot coming out of that Monet feud. And I just don't really like the direction they've gone with her. This feud was fine. I guess it's kind of been muddled with a bunch of other things and been presented as secondary, and then it's on the pre-show at All In, and it's on the main card here. Plus, you throw Ishii into it. I don't know how he fits in. I don't know. Accidents happen, but CTE be danged about the table spot.
Which table spot you talking about? Because there was like 3 in this match, and
The one off the stage was fine.
That was fine. It was off the stage. Didn't Willow almost kill? Was it Anna Jay when she did a powerbomb off the stage? You remember that?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. These women's hardcore matches. I don't know.
I think a lot of it goes kind of back to the thing Jade said a couple months ago, where she was like, I've never hit somebody with a chair. How should I do this? And like nobody told her. They just said, hey, go hit somebody with a chair. And I know you can't like practice diving through a table, but
or breaking a light tube over somebody's head.
Well,
but did you enjoy the splits on the thumbtacks, Micah?
I thought that was an interesting spot.
Bro, and then they took 3 more bumps in the thumbtacks, and you think that was the finish? Oh no.
No, brother. No.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. Because the women book like Hulk Hogan too. Everybody on the show is booked like Hulk Hogan.
Well, the crazy thing is, because I thought I saw the big spot with the syringe with Hangman and all that.
Whoa. Jumping the gun there, buddy. Don't spoil it.
Sorry. I saw that before I saw this match. And I was like, the funny thing is the light tubes aren't even the craziest foreign object that's going to be used tonight.
Nah.
So
probably not even top 3.
No. And I think that is where I draw the line.
Light tubes or syringes?
Yeah. No. The light tube. You ever seen that? You ever seen that billboard for like veganism or whatever, where it's got a bunch of animals and it was like, where do you draw the line at like what's edible or whatever? And somebody took one and said, about right here, and it's like right after the horse.
I think I have.
So like on mine, chairs, tables, ladders, thumbtacks, kendo sticks, fire, light tubes, and like right there, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Barbed wire's cool. Weed whackers, no.
Anything with glass, I'm not a fan.
My thing is if a clip popped up on somebody's Facebook and they saw it, would you be embarrassed to say that you saw that?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So
definitely so.
I guess that's my spectrum.
Let me ask you something before we move on, because as far as matches go, this wasn't the worst match. It was probably middle of the road for me. But what did Statlander bring out a chain with a strap on it? Did you see that? It became like a chain match all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was that? Was that significant or something? Were they paying homage to the corniest feud in wrestling, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre?
I don't think Excalibur made some kind of call about like this was the final time that they would be like together or something.
Why didn't they just book a chain match then?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
probably
they couldn't do their cool spots, brother, if they just booked a chain match.
Well, maybe that, or the fact that they just had a strap match in WWE.
They don't care about that. They book cage matches. They book gauntlet. They booked another of the Eliminator gauntlet match that we were just raving about last week. They booked the tag team one for Wednesday. So they used that gimmick 5 times this year.
And they don't have the tag teams to do that.
No.
So, I don't know. It was weird. Overall, to me, this match kind of felt rushed. Like, it kind of felt like they were getting up and going to the next thing, like, really quick. And I don't know if that's because something went long or if maybe that was just the way they pre-planned it. I don't know.
I think that's just the way they about match. Everybody to gen as many spots as possible. And if you can get the crowd to go, oh, that constitutes a good match, Micah. You didn't know.
Oh, well, we'll get a match where they didn't cheer for anybody. They just said, oh, a whole lot. And lastly, I know I raved about Willow earlier. I don't like that she gave up. She loses and then she gives up. You don't make the babyface give up. That's not right.
She just passed out.
I mean, everybody else gets to do it. Why not Willow? God forbid, no.
No, I think she did pass out.
No, she waved off like she gave up.
Oh yeah, well, dang.
So just piss in her mouth while she's down there, Tony.
Well, that would fit the theme of the night with the snuff thing.
That's probably the only thing we didn't see. Moving on for the AEW Continental Championship. Kazuchika Okada versus Mark Briscoe versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Orange Cassidy. That's a mouthful right there. Pause. No need for all these guys. Briscoe versus Takeshita would be a great match. Briscoe versus Okada, I probably would have preferred. Or even Takeshita versus Okada, I would have preferred than having all of these guys in one match.
I don't want to see Okada at all.
Well,
but he won here. I believe.
He's the champion, so I meant like if he has to be involved.
Then, he has to be.
Yeah.
Well, they have to get a return on that $10 million contract. But yes.
Is that like confirmed? I wish we knew what WWE was like giving their wrestlers.
I'm sure it's downside guarantee is probably, that's what they make minimum. I think they get paid a lot more on like merch and stuff like that. Like Cody is probably making about $8-9 million a year base, but then you got to think about how many T-shirts he sells, how many meet and greets he goes to, stuff like that. So it's probably upwards of, I don't know, I just pull a number, 20-25 mil.
So you think Okada makes like 10?
Oh yeah, most definitely, absolutely, bro. He left his home country when he was the top star in New Japan.
We're talking about 10 over 5 years or like 10 a year?
I can see him making Jericho money with a Jericho like linked contract. So I'll go 10 million for about 5 years.
Oh God. Well, yeah, that's you might as well throw your money in the fire and watch it go. Because to me, he has not done a thing for anybody or any viewer. Like people think his stuff is funny, but nobody's said like, man, Okada's run has been so great.
No, they think that, Micah. They do think that his whole run has been great.
The copium. It's out here on the streets worse than fentanyl at this point.
Remember when they started that big hot angle with the Elite and Tony Khan getting dropped on his head, and Okada was the big new signing, and everyone thought, oh, they're going to change the game changer, like signing. And then you look at what we got now, and it seems like they're just redoing the whole angle with the Blackpool Combat Club.
That's what's weird to me. It's like two different groups vying for control of the company, yet like there's no okay, like the Bucks wanted Jack Perry to win. So if they had gotten the world title, then what? You know what I mean? Like what now are they even doing to really like alter the show? It's not like the NWO where they're hijacking and they got their own commentators and like nothing really happens.
Well, they get to cut into the show to make funny comments while they're wearing a headset, and they get to Oh, Micah, they get to dance with Monet backstage. They seem like doing that. They, they are very funny guys, Micah. If you didn't know, Okada is the funniest wrestler to ever live. Like,
Oh yeah, I did forget about that.
Yeah, funnier than Mick Foley, funnier than Santino in his prime, or R-Truth currently.
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, yeah, they pale in comparison to one Kazuchika Okada. That's why he's worth $10 million.
Because they did the camera zoom and he flipped the camera off.
Yeah. You know what he said? You know what his catchphrase is?
I may have caught it once or twice.
It's the B word. He says it.
What?
Really?
You
don't get it? Yeah, you don't get it.
No, I think I actually do get it. I think it's funny because you're not supposed to say that.
No, but he says it, and now everybody says it on the show. Every Japanese person says it. Shida.
Yeah.
I think I saw one other person do it. But regardless, Micah, greatest comedy figure in all of wrestling. Okada wins this match, and speaking of other waste of money, we got Monet versus Shida. Was that the next match?
That was the next match.
Oh, okay. Look at me. I how smooth that was. Yeah, did you watch this?
I did.
Okay.
Somewhat.
What happened to Monet's hair? Why was she wet? Did the wig come off, or what happened here?
I don't think it came off. I think I don't know. I think she just wrestled and it got messy.
Okay. Some people were saying they came off. I didn't watch intently. I saw the end and it was looking a little rough.
If it did, I didn't notice it come off, but then again, I was like half awake and
the match was watching you. You weren't watching it.
Yeah. I was in the room when it was occurring.
Well, maybe her ex-husband's her, and once they got divorced, she is trying to scramble to find a new guy that can do her hair, Micah. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I thought wasn't he a white guy?
I think he's Japanese.
Oh, okay. Well, news to me. They do have some crazy hair over there. I don't know. I mean,
You think she's a waste of money?
You said what?
I would say you think she's a waste of money, huh?
I don't know how to gauge her run.
It's been underwhelming. 2 pay-per-views in a row. That's all we can say right now.
That's okay. I got you there. However, who does she have to work with? Because Shida is beyond washed. Like,
hey, it's over, huh?
Yeah. Hannah asked me if I had washed the dishes, and I just said Hikaru Shida, and she knew they were washed.
Was she ever good?
I remember somewhat liking her matches in 2022, and then, or maybe when I first started watching AEW, I thought, oh, well, she's solid. Maybe she's a little rough around the edges. But, dude, it's just gotten worse, year over year. And they bring her back, and people are like, oh, man, Hikaru Shida's back. I'm like, have y'all seen her the last time? She had a match with Toni Storm a couple months ago, I'm pretty sure, for the title. Buns. Absolute buns.
Yeah, they heat her up a lot when they hold other girls on ice for seemingly forever. When's the last time Thunder Rose has been a high-profile program?
I have no idea. She could be on Collision, and I wouldn't know it.
Well, I was going to say Serena D, but I've been seeing some of her recent stuff, and she looks like she moves in quicksand. I don't know what the professor is doing nowadays, but yeah, that class
is not in session.
No, it is not. And they brought in Tessa Blanchard? No, not Tessa Blanchard.
Oh God!
They brought in Rachel Ellering, didn't they?
I honestly don't know.
Who was that girl they brought in a couple months ago that everybody spoke highly of?
Taya Valkyrie? Oh,
Deanna Purrazzo. Yeah, Taya Valkyrie. What's happening to her?
She's banished to Ring of Honor with her husband.
I just don't understand why they don't use a lot of these women.
Well, they've got their couple. Like, they just, I don't know, man. There's no, like, mid-card division for them, even though they have a mid-card title. Like,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, they cycle somebody in. Like, Serena Deeb comes in, and she gets hot. Then she faces Toni Storm. Oh, she lost to Toni Storm. Deonna Purrazzo comes in. She gets hot. Like, that's all that ever happens. And there's no just like infighting between women other than like occasionally there's a Willow versus Chris Statlander, but it's not a constant. And even then, I'm sure Chris Statlander won't challenge for a title because both of the champions are heel.
Yeah, I was just about to say they don't have any baby faces that you believe in, unless it's Willow or Toni Storm just lost. So who else do we have?
I have no idea. But like the way they always set their feuds up are Toni Storm and Mariah May. Mariah May took the belt off of her. You know who was going to end up beating Mercedes? Camille. Like that. It's always, you can see it 1,000 miles away. So it telegraphs that they're never going to lose to anybody else.
You know, they dropped the ball with Mariah May since she won the title. She hasn't been doing anything.
Wasn't she supposed to have a celebration on this show?
She did. I was hoping you watched that. Did you see that? Did you see that segment?
No,
Some of the worst.
I was looking
dialogue.
for it.
It was they had Sky Blue come out there and confront her because it was in Chicago and they had a back and forth that sounded so fake, so phony. Bro, it felt like bad Nickelodeon writing. It was so bad. They made blowjob jokes. They had I think Sky Blue called Mariah May a skank or Jezebel or something, just something so cheesy and something so unnatural. It was, and Sky Blue's hurt still, so they're building to something that they can't deliver on.
And you know Sky Blue is not going to take the belt off of her.
No, of course not. No.
So, I don't know, like, just with Danielson right now, did I think Jack Perry was going to win? Absolutely not. Could I see Jon Moxley winning? Probably. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it, but it wouldn't be just the most outlandish thing I'd ever seen.
It feels like that's what they're building to. But yeah, one more thing about this Monet and Sheeta match, Mike, and we'll move on because we've been on this match a while. Why was Camille banned from ringside when she just got paired with Monet? How did that make any sense? Wouldn't you build to that later on down the line as a big stipulation?
You would think, but look at the booker.
Okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, you shouldn't have Mercedes prove that yet. You should have her prove it in 6 months.
Yeah.
And then she gets too big for her britches and think, well, I don't even need Camille. And that's when Camille turns and yada, yada. The only other thing I really had about the match, and you said you called the ending, you think there was some legit heat there at the end? Because Sheeta clocked her with those 2 kicks. And even the announcers were like, ooh. Well, then Mercedes kicks out at one of those, rolls outside. They do the stupid fight over the kendo stick, and then Mercedes hits her finish and like put her thing right in her face while she's pinning her like Hogan did Macho Man. I just think there might have been a little bit of heat.
Yeah, I did hear something about that. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it intently, but I did hear about it looked like Sheeta was legit hot at Mercedes.
Yeah. So I don't know if like I don't know if she potatoed her and it pissed her off, but she looked pretty pissed. And it didn't help that her hair was messed up too, so it kind of looked like she just got out of like a hair pull fight. But speaking of wild and wacky hair, we had for the AEW Championship, World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus the scapegoat, Jack Perry.
You know, man, Perry, he isn't a bad wrestler, but I can't take him serious in this main event role. I just can't. Look at him. Look at him. That build and that lack of I hate to say the word, but aura, it just doesn't pass the airport test, Micah. I just don't see it. It felt like they were trying to replicate when what was it? Jack Perry had that match in New Japan at that Chicago show. I forget who he faced. Well, he got a bunch of heat and chants, and the crowd was electric throughout. It felt like they wanted to go for that here, but it just didn't work, man. It just didn't work. Nobody thought he was gonna beat Bryan. Nobody wanted to see him beat up Bryan. And just the match, it was just fine. It was just there.
Yeah, I think he has genuine heel heat. I think he just has go away heat. And that Drew McIntyre picture is all I can ever think about when I see him.
It's the only thing you can think about. Think about Punk choking him out.
Well, I mean that too, but I'm just saying, like, he has it's just a stark difference in build, even compared to Danielson, who was a small guy in WWE. He's just so thin, dude. He looks like a fan. And I mean, look, I'm not saying he's got to do something to stay thin, I guess, but
can he not hit the weights, or
I don't know. I'm nobody like that can really talk about anybody's figure, but then again, I'm not going out on national television presenting myself as a legitimate threat. Like, is anybody, if you walk by Jack Perry, would you think like, yeah, I'm scared of this guy, or I bet that guy can fight? Like, Danielson looks like an amateur wrestler or like a UFC fighter, even if he is undersized.
Yeah.
Jack Perry?
Yeah, bro, and it's not body shaming if you point out a wrestler's physique isn't up to par. He's a professional wrestler. His whole 50% of his presentation is how they look. That's why when a big time professional wrestler makes it into the mainstream, they look like a professional wrestler. They don't look like Jack Perry, man. Sorry to say. Look matters. You gotta look the part. You gotta sound the part. And that guy, Jack Perry, with his curly long hair and his T-Rex like arms and his scared demeanor, because it looked like he was backpedaling from CM Punk when we finally got confronted by CM Punk. I just can't take that guy as a threat, man. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but it's not it. It's not happening.
The big talking point out of this was the aftermath.
Oh God.
So
attempted homicide after that.
the Bucks, not the Bucks, I'm sorry. Well, no, they did come out and try something, and the BCC defended them, and then Christian comes out, and
which is that contract Money in the Bank now?
I guess. But he was in a suit, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, you gotta be dapper, Micah.
What was he gonna do? Pin him in the suit?
Yeah, you just roll up your cufflinks and you get to work. Like you've never seen a wrestler wrestle in a suit.
Well, I mean, you got a point, but I'm all for the Christian world title run just because he's interesting to me. I don't care that he's 50-something years old, and he has like good matches. Like they're not blow you away 5 stars, but it's like, yep, that was a good match. I mean, it's better than half of what was on here. But anyways, the BCC gets in. Jon Moxley like suffocates Bryan Danielson with a plastic bag.
No. You were missing the uppercut that Bryan knows so.
He was so confused.
He just sat there, bro.
He looked up like a hurt dog. Like whenever you get onto him, and they're like, he looked. Have you seen that Willem Dafoe meme where he's blue in the face and he looks up?
Yeah.
That's what Brian looked like after Claudio. Like, he had no like cell. He was just appalled.
And then, the basement was saying that Willer Yuta deserves an Oscar for his performance.
Oh, come on.
Like a little child getting held back.
Did they really
Yes.
say that?
Yes, bro. The basement thought it was excellent acting from Willer Yuta, which that's what it is. It's all acting. It's all phony. Something that we shouldn't take serious.
It wasn't bad. Like, I didn't think he did a bad job, but like an Oscar.
Why couldn't he break free, man? He's a grown man.
Well, look at him.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Now, you know, we might have dog Pac earlier for his reversal kickout fest, but the Joker's ripped, and Willer Yuta looks like, you know, your average college kid. And I've actually seen some swoller college kids.
You know, skipping ahead a little bit, we can head back to the incident. But when they were taking Brian away, and there was EMTs around him, I did not even notice that Willer Yuta was a part of that. I just thought he was a regular guy.
Oh,
I didn't even know that was him. And so I was like, wait a minute. Oh, that's Willer Yuta. What's he?
I'm not surprised.
He looks like another guy, man. A t-shirt on and leggings. It looked like, I don't know, man. It just looked like it's part of the EMT crew.
Somebody get that man a barber.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man, just get a fade, man.
Yeah, it would help the presentation. Like, it just looks like unkempt hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, Moxley brings out the plastic bag and attempts to murder Danielson right there, live in the arena with 8,000 people as witnesses.
And Marina Shafir was the one running security off.
I don't understand that. Why is she beating up the security every week?
I don't know. Well,
can they not?
We don't know
take
her.
Down? Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Security probably doesn't know her either. That's why they're so confused. You figure they have a strategy by now. Like, can't they just all gang up on her at once?
Well, you would think, and I don't know what Claudio was doing. Like, maybe he was talking to him either. They just kept panning the camera to Marina Shafir. I don't even know, like, has she talked to them backstage, or like, has this been built up at all?
She's been hanging around Moxley since he came back and told people that it's not their company anymore. But yeah, man.
Maybe we don't know him.
We don't know him. He's wearing that white T-shirt every week now, which I don't know if that's significance. Seems like Claudio's stole one of them, and he's wearing them now too. But yeah, man, the plastic bag. I just don't understand why Brian can't rip out of the plastic bag. Can he just rip it? Is he not strong enough?
Yeah. I didn't think anything about it. Like, I didn't see the outrage for this, I guess. Like, I didn't hate this segment.
You didn't hate this attempted murder on live pay-per-view. Bro, it felt like it was in bad taste. Like, come on, man. It feels like they are panicking because of the drop ratings. So what do? Well, you attempt live murder. That'll get people talking. What's next, bro? Are they gonna sexually assault Jack Perry on pay-per-view next month? Is that what's next, Micah? Because we had stabbing, we had somebody getting suffocated, we had needles. When is too much too much?
I guess that was the thing to me. Maybe I knew what was coming up next, so this like didn't. I was like, "What's the outrage? Like, it's a plastic bag." I don't know. Like, it just didn't bother me. I guess.
Man. Come on, man. Really?
I'm for real. I did not see the outrage for this. I thought it was a good segment to get some heat on Moxley because he's one of those guys in AEW that like people will never boo. And I thought this was a good way to genuinely get some heel heat on him. And I see your point about the arms, like not ripping the bag. I kind of wish maybe Claudio helped hold him down or something. But in the moment, I was like, I don't know. I didn't get it. I thought it was a good way to get some heat on Moxley because he just had that look of like, whatever. Like, he didn't care about Brian anymore, and he was ready to let him die.
But the commentators didn't sell it at all, though. That's what hurt it too. Because I wrote something down. Like, I got notes, but the murder was happening right there. Mox was, attempting to kill Daniel Bryan right there, which nobody came out to save Daniel either until afterwards. You had Taz saying, Mox, don't do this. And then Tony Schiavone, what's he trying to do? Like, he can't see the bag over his head? Bro, it's wrapped around his head. How does he not see that? He does not have eyes. He's not looking at the monitor. And
He's
then
just put a
JR.
hat on him.
He just put a great call, Taz. That's sweet. He probably was thinking about saying that. And then JR. Bro, I think JR had a fine night. It wasn't 2001 JR or 1997 JR. But in this moment, JR said, we do not need this. Like, bro, he said it in the most calm voice while Daniel Bryan's getting choked out by a plastic. Come on, man. JR, yeah, we don't need this. We don't need murder, JR. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, me whenever we're walking through the streets of Atlanta and the guy asks for all of my valuables, we don't need this. You don't need this.
Commentary sucks, man.
I will give them this. They held on for a while before they went to this, like, the Page Swerve match after this to, I guess, like, give it some sell. But, like, I'm just at the state with their commentary team that I'm surprised that Taz didn't say Plastic Bag Jones.
Surprised they didn't start laughing.
Yeah. And I mean, I like Taz and I like JR. But dude, Excalibur is insufferable, and some people are finally coming around to it on Twitter. But I genuinely think he is to blame somewhat for why people turn off their TV show, because you have to listen to it for 2 hours. And somebody was like, well, he knows all the moves. Well, yeah, but he sounds like a nerd.
Yeah. And he flubs his lines and stumbles over words. Is Danielson capable of having a match without a aftermath angle of him getting carted off?
Only one I can remember is All In. Recently, at least. And
you know how he didn't even have a stretcher? They didn't even have a stretcher on.
I know.
On
they carried him out.
A guy with neck problems. History of neck issues. They carried him out.
No stretcher. Held him up by his head and his feet.
They ran out of budget, man. They did not know they were running this angle.
Hey, Final Countdown's $200,000 a play.
we couldn't get an ambulance for this show, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. That was weird. And also, it was very telling when they didn't restart Danielson's music that something was about to happen. And I knew that they didn't do that because they would have had to pay for Final Countdown again.
It's expensive.
So
it's a good song.
But I mean, it's a good entrance, but that's what happens after Final Countdown goes off. You really got to worry. And I'm not talking about the match. But speaking about things you got to worry about, shield your children's eyes, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page in a lights out steel cage match.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't like this.
Man, I think it would have been so much better if they would just have a regular cage match without the weapons. I enjoyed it more than their last Texas Death match. But yeah, man, when they brought out the stapler, I knew I was in for a long night.
Really? You enjoyed it more than the one where he drank his blood?
Yeah, I like this match more than that match where the blood was being drank. Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I like that one better because that spot was disgusting. But after that, it was fine. This one was just a constant uphill climb of what's worse. Next, I mean, just bring in the heroin needle. Oh yeah, well, here's hepatitis. Just I don't even know, man. First, You know, Ryan, if I burnt your house down, do you think you would wear a shirt of me burning your house down?
No, probably not. No, not at all.
Okay. I just thought that was weird. I don't know if anybody else thought that, but
You know, the stapler. I remember somebody pointed this out when it happened at the last death match they had. When Swerve just laughs off the staplers. Why doesn't Paige just like draw back and hit him in the head with the stapler if he's just laughing at him? Wouldn't you do that if a guy's just
it
not reacting?
doesn't make for a cool spot, man.
Okay. Well, they try to stab each other in the face later on. Why couldn't he just draw back and hit him right then and there?
Oh, I hate when they do stab spots because
why does that not lead to death?
Why does it not lead to like just gruesome blood loss? Because Paige didn't even get color after. I mean, he already had color, but I'm saying he got no new color after that.
That's a grown adult man that just swung a sharpened wood piece. What they call it? I forget what they called it. They had the name
like a
down.
steak, basically.
They called it I forget. Excalibur was quick to call it out too. Like they already knew it was gonna get used.
They said it was like a piece of his house that burned.
Yeah, how did he know that? How did Excalibur know that? Did he tell him before the match?
Dang, what a douche. Hey Swerve, this guy's got like a literal wooden stake, like you're a vampire and he's an exorcist. I'm not gonna tell anybody. Your secret's safe with me, Hangman.
Swerve swung that stake into Hangman's face as a grown adult man, and it was just nothing after that. He just went back doing spots. Like,
also, stab spots always look so fake because they choke up on it.
Yeah.
And to me, and there's no thought process with some of this crap they do. If you can't make it look real, don't do it at all. And that never looks real, nor is it executed well, because Hangman would literally be like Eddie Guerrero versus JBL levels of blood. And he didn't even have enough to run down his face.
Yeah. It should legitimately kill Hangman if he got stabbed in the face.
Yeah. Remember when they went around stabbing people with screwdrivers and that was the hot new fad on AEW and like nobody died?
I think they still do that.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it. I do miss a good bit of these TVs. Okay. I did think the hot start was fine. I actually liked when they were trying to trap each other up under the cage coming down, just because that was kind of something that you don't normally see. For two guys who hate each other, and I mentioned it earlier, my God, this started slow. Swerve would kick him, and then he'd walk around for 5 minutes. And then he'd do his finish, and then he'd walk around for 5 minutes. Like, if you're punishing a guy, wouldn't you keep it, like, pretty much on constantly?
Yeah, you would think. You didn't enjoy the cinder block spot?
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
Somebody, I don't remember who, I'm assuming it's Excalibur. No, it was Tony Schiavone. Said, the people are just shocked at what they're seeing. That's why it's so quiet in here. He didn't add that last part, but he literally said the people are just so shocked at what they're seeing. No, they're gassed after a 3.5 hour long pay-per-view, not including the pre-show. And this is moving ridiculously slow. And they're not chanting. They chanted one time, let's go Swerve, let's go Paige, let's go Swerve. Like one time throughout the entire match. Other than that, they were sitting on their hands and popping when they bring something else out. And then, like 2 minutes after this, guess what we get, Ryan? We want fire.
Of course, yeah. They've seen them do everything to each other. What else is there left to see? Why would you react? I've seen this guy get mauled with barbed wire and have his bodily fluid drained by the other guy. I mean, there's nothing else that I can see that is going to make me excited or shocked. But they attempted it, man. They attempted a
Yeah.
lot of shock value in this match.
But that's what it becomes. It's just jackass. Like that's what it becomes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. What can shock the audience more?
Yeah.
Have we ever shot drugs in somebody's mouth on television? Oh, why not?
Sounds good.
What?
Sign me up, pal. Right here in the cheek. Like I don't get it. And I like hardcore wrestling. Like one of my favorite matches of all time, Edge versus Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22. Great match. Used just enough, just on the line of things that I'm cool with. But they sold everything.
And it didn't go 35 minutes.
Yep. And they didn't almost paralyze somebody by dropping them on a freaking cinder block.
And the biggest spot in the match was the finish. I mean the Mick Foley Edge match. I'm not talking about here.
Okay. Yeah, I was
the
about
biggest
to say, huh?
spot. Yeah, the biggest spot in this match was definitely not the finish. Yeah, man. You save what you got. The big finish should be at the end, but they'll hit a big finish move, and then they'll wrestle around for 4 or 5 more minutes, kick out a few more things, the usual. And then by the time the end happens, the fans aren't at that crescendo anymore. They're not going to react like they would if it was at the big peak of the match. You get what I'm saying, Micah?
Oh, absolutely. Every match is overbooked.
Yeah. Just shaved off like 10 minutes of this match.
Yep.
It probably went a lot better.
And not only that, I mean, just like what goes through somebody's mind? Okay, I'm going to do this dude buster and I'm going to drop you on the center block. Yeah, well, I know if I was only like 4 inches a little bit further back, like it would have been directly on the top of your spine and you probably would have been paralyzed. But yeah, man, that'll look cool. It'll hurt like just for 3 weeks, but it'll look cool.
That's what it's all about, looking cool.
Have you ever once in your life ever thought about getting dropped on a cinder block?
No, I've done a lot of backyard wrestling, Mike. I can honestly say cinder blocks were never a part of my matches.
No. I think the only thing I ever did, and I will admit this live and in living color, I poured pennies out on the trampoline as tacks and jumped on them.
Okay, all right. That's valid.
It didn't hurt that bad. Now, would I do a thumbtack spot? If I was a wrestler, probably. Cinder blocks? There is no way. Did you see how Swerve's back, like, contorted once he landed on it?
Yeah, the weird thing about that is when Hangman was pulling him up for the power bomb, looked like he was about to drop him on his head, and he picked him back up. Why not just drop him on his head, bro? He just tried to stab you.
Yeah, I mean, just kill him. Just kill him at this point. It ain't even about the match.
Yeah, he tried to decapitate you earlier with a steel cage. Now you're showing mercy? Well, I'm going to drop him on his head, but this power bomb, though.
Yeah, I wrote down, then a power bomb onto the cinder block. My God, I hope you enjoy fused discs. So, then we had a normal spot, a power bomb off the top rope. Got a big pop. Wow, imagine that. Something simple that isn't going to last with you for the rest of your life. The syringe spot. Was there actually something in the syringe?
I think what they were going for was, I don't know if you've ever seen this spot on like the little CZW shows, but they would stick the syringe in people's mouths to get it to pop out the other side, for shock value. And Hangman couldn't get it. I can't believe I'm saying this on air, but he couldn't stab Swerve in the mouth enough to complete the spot. So, yeah.
No,
man,
did he?
I don't know, man. It's just shock value for shock value. Like if you was to show this to a person that's never watched wrestling, how do you think they would react to this? And how do you think they would think? How do you think they would. I'm trying to word this. Help me out, Mike. I'm twisting in the wind here.
No, because I completed this social experiment the other day at work. Because there's a guy I know that he used to watch wrestling or whatever, and I was like, "Hey man, saw this clip on Twitter the other day." You know how to play it off because I didn't want to admit that I watched this. Saw this clip on Twitter the other day. This thing that happened at some wrestling show. Let me show you. His reaction was like he almost didn't even respond. It was just like oh my god, like why? Like he was so confused on how we get from like breaking tables and chairs to syringes.
If watching wrestling was considered taboo, stunts like that's 100% to blame. Why watching wrestling is taboo?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason that CZW has never made it any bigger than it is. And it's not because they don't have a budget. It's because people don't like that kind of thing. Like UFC was called human cockfighting for a while because it was too inhumane. And then look at what we're doing on the wrestling show.
Imagine if they would have brought out syringes and started shooting people up with drugs in the matches in UFC.
Yeah. Or even in the 90s with The Rock and Stone Cold. Imagine if Stone Cold came out there and just pumped The Rock full of heroin. Like, I don't get it, man. And then the chair shot to the head, that was also a lot of controversy.
Oh, man. The basement, they came out to defend this with their lives. Bro, I don't care if the chair was gimmicked. The human skull was not meant to endure metal being thrashed into it. I don't care. I don't care if it's gimmicked. It's still metal.
You know my feelings about it. I don't mind it if it's once in a while.
Put your hands up if you're gonna do it. Put your hands up.
Well, yeah. If the talent is okay with it, then sure. And I guess that logic could be applied to a freaking syringe too. But like a chair shot to the head, I guess I've seen it so many times that it's fine. And also, oh Jesus, what purpose does the syringe serve? Like the chair shot to the head incapacitates him. The cinder block, while it's a stupid spot, ultimately hurts and like hurts his back. He may not be able to get back up from it. What is the syringe going to do unless you pump him full of like morphine?
Well, you don't get it, you fed shield. Hangman still has a heart, and he wanted to take care of Swerve to make sure he didn't endure that pain at the end. Because Hangman knew what he had to do, and he wanted to help Swerve through the pain. You fed shield. That's storytelling. That's the best feud of the year. You want to go fantasize about gay little bracelets on WWE television. This is what real graps is like.
Is that what somebody actually said? That he did that to help him through the pain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro, it's storytelling, Micah. Hangman is still anxiety-riddled, social, awkward cowboy. You didn't know? That drinks? He's still enduring the pain of losing his friend, Kenny Omega.
Oh, my God.
He deserves an Oscar.
Did they say that on commentary that it was like there was something in the syringe?
No, they just
gathered that.
Yeah, I don't know what they said on commentary, but that's what I was seeing from the basement online. They loved it.
Well, yeah, I did it.
You must like the bracelets over there in WWE.
Yeah, and God forbid something be personal and close to somebody that's as much as a bracelet. I mean, Jesus Christ. Drew McIntyre might as well hang CM Punk next month at Bad Blood. Just kill somebody. Just bring a gun to the wrestling match now.
That's what's next. Yeah, man. I told you.
Somebody.
They're gonna sexually assault Jack Perry and they're gonna shoot somebody in the head next pay-per-view.
Yeah, just go full Tommy Dreamer, Drew McIntyre. Just blow it all off.
What if Shane McMahon shows up and just never mind, let me just let's end the show, man.
Well, we are not legally responsible for anything we said on this podcast. Yeah, man. All in review or all out. I gotta give this like a 4 or a 3.5.
Yeah, bro. I can't go any higher than a 3 because I skipped 3 matches, so I can't give it a complete grade. So I'm giving it a 3.
Like, I genuinely don't think I enjoyed. I enjoyed most of the Willow Statlander match, and other than that, it was just like I just kind of felt like I was being forced to watch it.
Oh, Micah. So you're telling me right now, with a straight face, that you're not sicko? You didn't enjoy this?
No, I'm just a fed shill, and I like my little bracelets, my little charms, and I think it's interesting that a guy cares about his wife and his dog, and a guy left him in a pool of his own blood in his hometown. That's not enough. We got to burn each other's house down and drop you on cinder blocks and shoot you full of hepatitis-riddled morphine. So,
my friend, you have to open your heart up to the code of the sickos. And therefore, you will enjoy the 35 kickouts, and the constant planchas, and the morphine needles.
Well, I asked them to open their terabytes of whatever may be on their computers at home, but needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, all out. I keep wanting to say all in. All out was it went all out, and it was not well received here or there. And come back next week. We'll get back to some weekly reviews, and next time on the Scoop Slam podcast, we got meteors hitting the ring, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check out the Linktree. Make sure to get your dead threads. 15% off if you use the link. 10% off if you use code ScoopSlam. Follow us Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Go like our TikTok as well. It's all at ScoopSlamPod, so you know when we're uploading next. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.